Hello. Okay, today we're going to talk about describing pairs of angles. So we're going to be looking at two or more angles, mostly just two because we're talking pairs. Okay, so we are doing 1.6. So here we go. All right, so first thing, let's get this where it is going to write. Okay, so adjacent angles. So what are adjacent angles? Adjacent angles share two things. They share a vertex. So remember that's the corner. And they share an adjacent side, which is why they're called adjacent angles. They are next to each other. Okay, so here is a picture of a pair of adjacent angles. The vertex is A because that is my corner, and this angle here and this angle here share this ray, so they share ray AG. That is the adjacent side. Now over here I have three adjacent angles. This angle, and then this one over here. So the vertex of all three angles is I, and the adjacent sides, IF, is the adjacent side between angle 1 and angle 2. If I was looking at angle 1 and 3, this would be an adjacent side. And if I was comparing angles 2 and 3, this would be an adjacent side. But we're just going to look at TIF. So let me erase this so that it's a little more clear. So if I'm looking at angle TIF, which is this angle right here, T to I to F, and F to I to G. So we're just talking these two angles. This is the adjacent side. All right, so now looking at this, we have angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4. And it says which angles are adjacent to angle 1. So here is angle 1. So angle 2 is adjacent because it shares a side. And angle 4 is adjacent because it shares a side. So angle 2 and angle 4. Now if you're looking at angle 2, so now let's erase this and use a different color. So if we're looking at angle 2, which ones are adjacent to angle 2? So angle 2 would be angle 3 because angle 3 is next to it. And angle 1 is on the other side of it. Okay, so angle 2 is next to angle 3. Angle 2 is also next to angle 1. So adjacent, they have to share a side. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is complementary angles. Complementary angles have to add up to 90 degrees. They don't have to be touching, they just have to add up to 90 degrees. So 40 plus 50 adds up to 90. Supplementary angles have to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, the next two pairs, vertical angles. Okay, vertical angles are always congruent. They are always congruent. Remember, congruent means equal. They will share a vertex. And they're always going to be opposite each other. So anytime you see an X formed, think of like a pair of scissors or something, this angle will be equal to this angle. Always, always, always. So part equals part in this case. So think about, you've got this angle here, and then you've got this angle here, and those two share a vertex, and they're opposite each other. A linear pair, they are always supplementary. Now, here we looked at supplementary angles. So supplementary angles do not have to touch, they just have to add up to 180. It's just two random angles that add up to 180. Now, if they're a linear pair, they have to add up to 180. and they have to be adjacent. So a linear pair has to be adjacent. So this time you're going to look at part plus part equals 180. So this part plus this part equals 180. So these have to be adjacent. So I'm going to make a little note down here. So I'm going to put star have to be adjacent. And let me make that a little bit smaller so that it fits. So they have to be adjacent. And let's change that color to be important. So they have to be adjacent. All right, so now here it says to name 3 pair of complementary angles. So remember, complementary means they have to add up to 90. So if I'm looking for 3 angles that add up, or name a pair, sorry, number 3 says to name a pair. So like angle 2 and angle 3, they add up to 90. So angle 2 plus angle 3 equal 90. Name a pair of supplementary. Remember, supplementary, they have to add up to 180. So angle 1 and angle 4 equal 180. So now looking at number 5, it says name 2 linear pairs. So remember, linear pairs, see the word line? Okay, so the word line is important. That means they have to make a line. For example, 1 and 2 together make a line. So angle 1 and angle 2, they make a line. Another option would be 3 and 4. So angle 3 and angle 4. Also 2 and 4. So angle 2 and angle 4. And also 3 and 1. I know it said to just name 2, but we're going to name them all. So basically what happens if you think about it, if you're just looking for a line, 1 plus 2, 2 plus 4, 4 plus 3, and 3 plus 1. So it kind of just 2 at a time going around. Now, if we name 2 sets of vertical angles, so remember vertical, they have to be across from each other. So angle 1 is across from angle 4. So angle 1 is across from angle 4. 2 and 3 are across from each other. All adjacent angles are linear. Are all adjacent angles linear? Absolutely not. Now, if I drew a line, angle 1 and angle 2, these two are linear and adjacent. But if I drew this picture, these two are adjacent, but they are not linear. So this is definitely false. Are all linear pairs adjacent? Yes. All linear pairs are adjacent. All right, so here are some steps to finding the measure of an angle. So you need to determine the relationship of the angle. Is it vertical or linear? So do they make an X or do they make a line? If vertical, then set them equal to each other. If linear, add them together. So this is important. Okay, if they are vertical, they're going to be equal to each other. If they are linear, you're going to add them together. Solve for X and plug back in if needed. So if it says find X, then you just find X. If it says to find the angle, then you're going to have to plug it back in. So here it says, given the measure of angle 1 is 120 degrees. So if this angle is 120, then what's this angle? Well, I know angle 1 plus angle 2 has to add up to 180. So 180 minus 120 is 60. So that means that the measure of angle 2 is 60 degrees. And I know they have it backwards by the way that it looks, but we don't want to judge by the way it looks. Only go by what's given, okay? It says find the measure of each missing angle. So this angle is 120. Since angle 2 is across, its opposite, this is also 120. So angle 2 is 120 degrees. Now, remember, we talked about linear, so we know these two angles make a linear pair because if you draw the little arc in the line, it's 180. So that means angle 3 is going to be 60 because 180 is in this line all the way across minus the 120 they give us, which is 60. Now, since this angle is 60, this is across from it, so angle 1 is also 60. So determine vertical or linear. Are they equal or do they add up? It works the same exact way when you're looking at algebra, okay? So I know that these two share a side and they make this line. So these two have to add up to 180. So are they vertical or linear? They are linear. Are they congruent or supplementary? They're always supplementary. So 4x plus 5x equals 180. 9x equals 180. X equals 20. And that's all it says is to solve for x. So check, I am done. This one over here, there's an x, and I have this opposite angles. So therefore they are vertical, therefore they are congruent. So I'm just going to solve for x. So 3x plus 20, because vertical angles mean part plus part, or part equals part. This is part plus part equals 180. This is 7x minus 8. So I'm going to subtract the 3x. So let me scroll this up. So subtract 3x from both sides. So 20 equals 4x minus 8. Add 8 to both sides. 28 equals 4x. Divide by 4. X is 7. All right, make sure while you were watching this video that you go and put a star or a question mark or something or circle it if you need more examples. Please come to class prepared with questions and make sure we understand. And I will see you guys next time. So have a great night.